Hey friend, welcome to my podcast, The Fit Soul. I'm your host, Amy Ramsey. In this podcast, we will be discussing soul-filled strategies to unleash your confidence, increase your energy, and all the things healthy lifestyle. If you're a Christian woman who is ready to reach your God-given potential, walk worthy of your calling with abundant joy and energy, girlfriend, you are in the right spot. I mean, you only have one life to live. You might as well maximize it. Buckle in, and thanks for listening.
Do you ever struggle with this sensation, this feeling of there's more, there's more to your life and stewarding your time and your gifts well, or that you are in such a place of even high capacity, rocking and rolling with your life, but you feel like it's maybe shifted, like somehow or another you've been going on the railroad and it kind of, you veered off and you just feel out of alignment with the best of who you are, and you're trying to figure out what it is that you need to get back to get recalibrated or to get unstuck. Hello, my name is Amy Ramsey. I'm really excited to have a positive conversation, a way to help you move forward. And it's discussing a framework that I've used in my own life, and thousands have used it as well. And I call this the Fit Soul Framework. And this is podcast number 3 of 4. Okay. So if you've missed the other two, it's episode 106, episode 107. And I'm coming to you today as your girl. I'm a follower of Jesus first. And it's my mission, it's my heart's desire to utilize my gifts, my calling, my skill sets, and help you walk worthy of your calling, help you. That's that Ephesians 1 view. And I believe that we have to take an integrative look at ourselves, how we're created, how we're designed, and understanding that, and understanding that we are called and that we want to steward our life well. I was at a point in my life where a while back where I was out of alignment with my calling. I was out of alignment with my energy levels and I was exhausted and I was moving forward. However, I was not where I instinctively knew that I needed to be. And God often uses disruptions in our life to redirect us. And I'm really grateful that He did, because it was not easy in the season. And anytime we have uncertainty in our life, it's just hard, because as humans, we like to have certainty. And it's really interesting to me is that in our day and age, we are comforted by knowing things. We are comforted, and we can get information at the drop of a hat. If I want to know what the temperature is going to be 2 seconds away, I'm on my cell phone. I can figure that. If we want to figure out the news in real time, we all we have to do is go to social media or turn on TV, right? We can get information and have certainty about so many things. But when it comes to our future, that's not the way that life works. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if we had some sort of a crystal globe and we could see our future? And that's what I want to share with you today. So we've broken down a lot of things in those other 2 podcasts. Again, if you haven't listened to it, I do recommend it. But where I'm coming at this approach of, sometimes I feel like unlock your potential is a very generic term for kind of like overarching, oh, I want to unlock my potential. I want to unlock. And so I don't want that to sound, I don't want that to fall on flat ears, because I'm talking about so much more than that. I'm talking about unleashing the essence of you. And so I'm coming from your sister girl who loves the Lord, and also from my experience and expertise in a very integrative approach to life with, I'm a certified life, health, and high performance coach. And so with all of that, I want to help you to build out and go do those things that God's calling you to do and keep your life in balance, keep your life in, your relationships thriving, keep that success oriented for the long haul. A lot of people can just like kind of go and sprint and then they're like done for a while. And that's not what we want. We want long-term sustained success. And that's what God promises us when we do things his way. We're called to a different standard. So all that to say, let's jump right in today to an activation. So we've discussed that integrative place of how you're wired and how you're designed and how amazing you already are, and that God has a plan and a purpose for you in your life in this stage. I don't care what you've done. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. God's got a purpose and a plan for you right now in your life. And it's going to look different in different seasons. That's just life. And so just understanding that you're his workmanship and he's created you. He has raised you up for such a time as this. I have a lot of midlifers and beyond that listen to this podcast. And so for us, we're on that second half of our life. We come to this place with experience, with a lot of really well-defined skill sets at this point in our life. And if you're thinking, oh, I don't have any, yeah, you do. You really do. I think it's important that we understand how amazing we are. And that's not from a place of pride or conceit, but it's just a place. I mean, the Bible says, don't think more highly of yourself than you ought, but it doesn't say don't think highly of yourself. And so I know that a lot of people that struggle with worthiness issues and low self-esteem and where self-doubt and insecurity are beating you up and keeping you stuck, I want you to challenge this place of what I just said of do you have a healthy self-esteem? There's that balance, right? I want to share with you a story that this is true and it happened just a few weeks ago. I have those, probably like you, exterior lights in my yard, and we have them set on, I don't know what those things are called. I don't know electricity very well, but I know there's ones in the front, there's ones in the back, and there's a little timer to work them all. Now, where I've lived, I've been in the same house, same yard, same lights for 11 years. I'm familiar with these lights, and occasionally you have to go out around the back, and there's this little thing that controls the lights. It's attached to the house, and like I have to squeeze through bushes to get there. And then once I'm there, listen, I can't even see it. I've got to make sure I've got my readers, and then I have to adjust the light. Sometimes you just have to reset it. So after 11 years, I've got to say I'm pretty proficient with this. Okay. We've had a couple of issues with the lights. Sometimes the lawn people, when they're pruning or adding different things, they'll accidentally cut the exterior lights and part of them won't work. I've had that happen a couple of times. I was able to identify it and figure it out and get it fixed. There's also some other factors too that, again, after 11 years, I've worked out these problems. Now, here's the funny thing. Over the summer, my lights didn't work. And for some reason, I didn't care. Like, I didn't feel like, it's not that hard. I just didn't feel like grabbing my readers and going through the bushes and finding that thing and resetting that thing. So, and the days were longer. So I didn't worry about it too much. Now, after a few months, I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. I've got to go turn these exterior lights on, because the reality is it's hard to see in the backyard without them on. I've got two little dogs that I take out every night before we go to bed, bring them back in. So all that to say, I needed to go get these lights fixed. So I go to the back, I go through my protocol. Again, I'm experienced with this. I go through the protocol of figuring out the lights. I couldn't get them on. I'm like, shoot. So I went ahead and called my trusted handyman who helps me do the little odds and ends around here in this house that we can't do. So called him. He came over. We're going through it and showing him how to reset it. He's actually helped me with it before, so he's familiar with it. And I want you to know that as I was there, as we were going through it, as I've paid this person to go, see, the lights in the front yard are working, but the lights in the backyard aren't. And it was so dark back there. As we're going through it all, I remembered one step that I forgot to check on. I remembered one troubleshooting step that actually really stumped me years before. And I don't know why I didn't think about it. I want you to know that by this time, I've got the handyman out and I'm trying to get this fixed. I haven't had lights in my backyard for 6 months. It's kind of embarrassing. So as he's here, I'm like, oh my gosh, wait. There's a switch inside that if it's not up, it will not produce electricity to this backyard. And this particular switch, I have taped on it and taped up so no one accidentally turns it off. It's very easy to turn it off. And as I'm running to see where that switch is, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. I went and flipped the switch on and the lights came on. It was that simple. It was that simple. And it was so nice to have the lights on again so the dogs could see. I was thinking about that situation and how much our lives are like that. Sometimes we get used to things being less than, things not being bright, and how important it is for us in our lives for us to make sure that we have the right switches turned on and that we're not just adapting to a less than, a smaller than version, a darker version than what God has for us. So the first part of this Fit Soul framework is what I'm calling this, is your identity and your alignment. And that's in episode 107. And today I want to get to this place where it's almost this light switch that this has to be turned on. And how often it is that it's not turned on. And so that third step for you to really get activated and move forward in your life, unleashing every bit of who God says that you are, who He's deemed you to be, these beautiful gifts that are inside of you, and to understand that without this thing, you're not going to make your impact that you're called to make. Here's the problem. Oftentimes, we are feeling unfulfilled in our lives, and it feels icky at a soul level, and we try to fill it in with other things. Maybe with accomplishments, maybe with like checking things off of a list that kind of make us feel more validated as a human. Maybe it's with distractions and just staying more distracted. Maybe there's some sort of other ways that you're feeling that fulfillment that only God can fill in you. And that's not going to come alive until you have turned on that light switch inside of you. And that light switch inside of you is the essence of the Spirit of God operating inside of you, unleashing more and more of your potential. So that third step, there's a couple of different ways that we could say it, but it is leadership. It's imperative that we realize, that we recognize that we are leaders. We are called to be leaders. And when we think about ourselves, and a lot of ladies like, oh, no, not me. No, yes. Jesus said, go into all the world making disciples. Well, you have to be a leader to have disciples. And we're created for that. But when we don't see ourselves, that goes back to that identity piece, right? And then being in alignment with our assignment. Another way that I like to look at leadership, which again, this is just a pillar of the essence of how we're created to be. But here's where I find that a lot of people, this word to me resonates deeper. This is a deeper level connect for an unlock. Okay. And you can look at it as leadership, but I like to look at it as kingdom. It's like kingdom. This is kingdom purpose. My life is meant to be glorifying God and utilizing my gifts, my skills, my calling for his glory, to using my voice for his glory, to make an impact with all of the above, all the aforementioned, for his glory. And it is so easy to leave that kingdom out of the foundation of your life. And it's so easy to check off a quiet time, to check off I'm kind of doing some things for the Lord, but is it this kingdom purpose? Is it this kingdom mindset? Because that's what we're created for. And I know this might be stepping on some toes, and I'm not particularly trying to do that. I'm just trying to share unlocks for you. I know so many, and I was one of them that felt stuck, and I kept trying to feel that unstuckedness that and define my fulfillment from doing, from achieving, from just trying to find it even from validation of others, trying to feel it from all of these places, when Matthew 6:33 says, seek you first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. So it's like, it's kind of simple. What does God say? Be righteous, and everything else is going to work itself out. There's a scripture that I want to read here, and man, I heard this a while back, and it has stuck with me. And it's a Revelation 2:5, and actually 2:4. And it says, nevertheless, I have this against you. And this is the Loveless Church. And then it said, you've done a lot of works. You've had a lot of labor. You've been patient. And you haven't done bad, and you've persevered for my name's sake. But listen to this. He says, but nevertheless, I have this against you, that you have left your first love. You have left your first love. And so thinking about it like that is, we have to keep this perspective, this kingdom mindset, this kingdom purpose that's wrapped around leadership. It's wrapped around stewardship, right? In mind. And this is such a massive pillar, because if you think about where we are now, so we've talked about identity, understanding who you are and just becoming that who you were designed to be, to alignment, aligning yourself with these places and with this, the way that God's created you, to your kingdom mindset, kingdom purpose. This is that leadership. This is that legacy piece. It's like, what is it that you want to accomplish with your life that God's calling you to do? Like having that mission, that purpose in your life. I created a mission and purpose statement over my life that has guided me, and it's helped me to stay doing the things that matter most. And then God drops new ways to do. Really, basically, this mission has been the same, is that I walk worthy of my life and my calling, and powerfully use my voice to help other women walk worthy. And it's this activation that is so important to me to make sure that I am utilizing my voice. Listen, for the longest time, I didn't think my voice mattered. In fact, I believe this was my belief system that God couldn't use someone like me because I've had mistakes in my past. And I just need to be a good little girl until I die. And that was my belief. And now I understand clearly that that was the enemy, and 100% that God can use any of us with he's not looking for us to come all cleaned up to him. He is looking for our availability. He's looking for our yes on the table. He's looking for our surrender. Okay. So I just want to speak this into myself, into you, and just pray that you hear this from a place not of works based, but of a soulful, spiritual place of love for your Father, seeking him first because you love him. This is so different than checking things off of a checklist. I need to read my Bible. Like spiritual disciplines, I'm all about it. We need our spiritual disciplines in our routine, and we need to meditate on God's word, and we should. I'm not saying that, I'm not making light of that. Please hear me. Hear my heart in this. What I am suggesting is that it's a true love for him and for his economy, for humanity, for understanding that he's given me this life, magnificently created me, and now I have a responsibility. Just let that sink in for just a moment. You have a responsibility with your life, and is it a kingdom purpose that's driving you? The enemy wants you distracted. He doesn't want you to think about those things. He doesn't want you to feel worthy enough for those things. But as Jesus says in the Gospels, that the harvest is ripe, but the workers are few. And so we collectively, as iron sharpens iron. Now, this is so much of what we talk about in the Walk Worthy community is iron sharpening iron. Let's go. Let's use our voices. Let's use our actions. Let's use our lives for God's glory. What does that look like? It looks different for all of us. But it's an activation. It really is. And that last part of this Fit Soul Foundation, so it's identity, it's alignment, it's kingdom. And this last part is you can't do any of that without this one thing. Like this one thing I believe is crucial. This one thing, these are all crucial pieces, but this one thing to get you activated in the right actions to get you moving forward and unstuck, this one thing is growth, is moving forward, is an understanding that we're always in this place of growth. And as long as you're in the place of growth, I'll tell you what you'll never be: stale or stagnant. When you understand really a growth mindset is a place of openness, it's a place of learning, it's a place of developing oneself, it's a place of building skill sets. It is a beautiful, beautiful place to be. It's a place of how can I get to? I shared with you just a moment ago that I was really, 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 really stuck. And it was my belief that God couldn't use somebody like me because of my experiences in life and because of where I was. Okay. That was my belief. It was who I was. I owned it. And so when you look at that, that is clearly there's no growth there. There's no place that is, very stale, very stagnant. I'm sorry, I had to mute that. The dogs got loud. Real life here, y'all. Okay, a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And what is different about that? It's like the difference between scarcity versus abundance. God came for us to have an abundant life. And when we don't apply that, even for our own life, then we're going to fall back into just this place of being stagnant. When we don't understand that there is a hopeful future for me. I love that Proverbs 31, the Proverbs 31 woman smiles at the future. She smiles. I'm sure she don't know what's coming all the time. We get stuck in our uncertainties and fretting and anxiety. Listen, I'm guilty of this. Anxious and worried and fretting and da 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 da. And she smiles at the future. It's like this recalibration. But what is it for growth? I love a couple of things here. I want to just kind of compare a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. A growth mindset believes that abilities can be developed, whereas a fixed mindset believes that abilities are static. And when you understand about your abilities and that there's always this place of developing your skills and how powerful that is. I am a lifelong learner. I'm in the middle right now, literally. I'm a little bit of an overachiever too, but of taking a course that I'm paying for that's a live course on goals. And then I'm in a college course, actually, that literally starts today, that will wrap up in January. And then I've already signed up. I signed up in October for a course and a class that didn't start until January. I have found so much value in continuing to learn and to build new skill sets into who I am and who I'm becoming. Another thing with growth mindset is that it sees challenges as an opportunity, whereas when you have that fixed mindset, you avoid challenges out of fear. You don't see that taking the risk is the right thing to do, that if I try that, I might fail. And if I fail, then I'm a failure, instead of, let me try that. And with a growth mindset, I might fail, but I'm going to learn something along the way, and I'm not a failure. It's just you take a risk, right? And that with our growth mindset, we value effort as a path to mastery, whereas fixed mindset sees effort as pointless. So maybe in your own like life, where have you developed more of a fixed mindset than a growth mindset? That growth mindset learns from failures. It learns from feedback. It learns from even criticism. That growth mindset focuses on growth and potential, whereas a fixed mindset is going to focus on limitations and failure. It feels threatened if there's feedback that's not positive. But a growth mindset, I love working with my coaching clients that are just really full in the space already of a growth mindset, because they're able to go faster, go further, quicker, because they value feedback. I'm in the middle of building out something myself, and a friend said, "Hey, let me share that." In fact, this just happened this week. She goes, I know that you know this. She goes, but she was looking at reviewing something, and she said, I don't think this is that great. Like, I'm not clear about what's going on here. And I think that this has to be changed. She was looking at some stuff on a website page, because I'm not clear about it, and da da da. She gave me all the reasons why. And I was like, oh my gosh, her feedback was invaluable to me, because I looked at it from my perspective. We all have different perspectives. So my point with this is that growth, being in a place of growth, always growing. If you're not growing, you're moving backwards. Okay. So where in your life have you fallen prey to being stale, stuck, stagnant, and you've slipped over into that fixed mindset? These are great questions to ask yourself. One of the reasons why, listen, at the time of recording, this is the end of 2024. I have crushed the goals this year, and that feels really exciting because I used a growth action plan. I'm going to come back next week and talk about that. In fact, I have this growth action plan. It's absolutely free. You can go to the show notes and go download it. This growth action plan, though, I have implemented it and tweaked it, and I'm still implementing and tweaking and perfecting because it's going to look different for each of us. But I want you to have structure around what I believe the habits that you need most in your life. For us to move forward, we need rhythms in our life. We need health rhythms so we can keep our health up, so we can keep our energy up. There's things that just make sense when we start to really look at our clarity, our focus, our energy, our courage, our stewardship of time and energy and focus and all those things, and then ultimately our impact. So when we start to think about our lives in a growth manner, and then how do we actually achieve these changes in our life? And I want to say, first and foremost, I'm such a believer that when you get a hold of who God says that you are, you can be instantly healed and transformed and changed. When we talk about a true transformation in your life, when you understand and walk through an identity transformation, it's who you are and who you're becoming. And you focus on that part of who am I becoming and who do I want to be while I'm becoming that. It's such a powerful, powerful place of true change. So as a believer, we have the Holy Spirit inside of us to help us with this. It's so powerful. Never underestimate the power that's inside you already. And then to walk that out, I believe that you have to have certain things in your life. I'm going to break those down next week. So you definitely want to join me back for that. But I do want to hear from you. Where are you growing? What came up for you as we talked about kingdom, as we talked about growth? How is it feeling to feeling, can't get my words out, to put together identity, alignment, kingdom, and growth, so you can truly unleash what God's wanting you to unleash. So you can, like I shared at the beginning, turn that light switch on. Like it's there. That power, when we just tap into the power source, the electricity, the power source, we tap into every bit of who God says that we are, and the ordinary people like me, like you, become extraordinary. And it's because of how we're wired and how we're designed. So I hope that this was encouraging to you. I hope it was a little challenging as well. It challenges me every time I go through this in my own life and go, okay, my kingdom purpose, is my alignment. Am I aligned with my value system in my life? In my identity? Am I walking in my full identity of who God says that I am? Because fear is no longer a factor. Inadequacies, unworthiness, and all of these things. And then to tie that around to kingdom purpose, legacy, leadership, and then growth. How am I going to get there? And I can't wait to share that with you next week. All right, my friends, thank you so much for being here. Share this podcast with others. And I've got a free download for you in this. If you want that growth action plan, you can go ahead and get it right now and get started on it. It's a beautiful, beautiful tool that I've put together. In fact, it's what we use in my Walkworthy mentorship. And let me just tell you a little bit about that in case you are like, hey, the ladies in my Walkworthy mentorship, holy smokes, they are incredible and they are improving their lives. They are getting healthier. They are moving on the things and activating on the things that God's calling them to do and to become. They are focusing on the things that matter most. They are learning to eliminate their distractions and use their life in a more powerful way that God's calling them to be. And so they do this. We do this together as community. I coach in there with them twice a month. It's a very structured coaching plan with faith activations from me every single day that are in alignment. It's a Bible verse to get that kingdom purpose fired up inside of you. I believe that we need each other, and there's not another mentorship like this out there. So I would love to, if you're interested in that, you can check the show notes as well, and would love to invite you into that if that is something that feels in alignment with you. All right. Well, we are on the cusp of the holiday season, so let's buckle in, my friends, and enjoy the ride. And I will see you guys next time on the Fit Soul podcast. Bye.
Girlfriend, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm so honored you come back every week and that you share the Fit Soul podcast with your friends and family. Every time you share my podcast on Instagram or Facebook, I do a little happy dance. Make sure you subscribe to the Fit Soul podcast where you'll never miss an episode. You can go to Podcast, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode release. And just know, I truly love bringing you excellent content and great guests to provide you motivation and faith inspiration to help you walk worthy. And one of the ways you can help me is to go and leave the Fit Soul podcast a review. If you have just a moment, would you please go over and leave a review for the Fit Soul podcast? Thank you again. I love you. And here is your reminder. You are worthy. Until next time. Bye-bye.